All right.
BAND-MAID, everybody. We are here to talk about them. We are here to
Woo!
talk about their big announcement. And I think everyone has heard about it except for the one other BAND-MAID fan here, Benedict, who's had a busy week and didn't know about any of this until literally a few seconds before we went live. So, unfortunately, we've already given away the fact that BAND-MAID are going on a world tour,
That's all I
but
know.
we're going to be telling him a few more facts. We're going to be discussing our opinions and a few other things. But first of all, well, yes, BAND-MAID coming back to Europe as well as being in Asia. And yes, they will be doing North America as well.
Boo.
Half the audience switches
So
off.
no
Um,
South America?
no, so I like that. The minute they cover
Why
one thing, we're
not?
like, well, I'm glad you came back to Europe. But yeah,
I mean, world
I,
tour kind of inclines the whole world. That
well,
includes.
I'm inclined to think it would be cool if they go to Mexico because obviously like the war and crossover is a really big thing. So that'd be
Yeah.
interesting. But guys, what do you think about the fact that BAND-MAID are coming back to Europe?
Very happy.
What's your initial thought, Benedict? Do you want to say
Very
this?
happy about it, but I will have to look up the dates. Will they also come to my country? That's what I personally care about.
Well, are you ready to hear the big news about that?
Yes, please.
Are you
The
ready?
answer
Okay,
is no, I will
here
leave.
we go. Here it goes. The answer is we
Yes.
don't know.
Oh, there are no dates
They,
yet.
they haven't confirmed the dates yet. They haven't confirmed exactly where they're going. All they did was
Mm.
confirm that a European tour and a world tour is coming up. But obviously the big thing for this is that it's just the fact they've confirmed Europe is going to be there. So at least now, if anyone wants to see, I mean, let's be honest, if they're coming back to Europe and they haven't announced immediately the dates, then there's got to be quite a few dates because otherwise you'd announce them straight away. There's got to be something still being confirmed. Maybe festivals. I'm assuming it's going to be in the summer. And let's face it, if you're going to tour in Europe, I mean, you've at least got to do UK, France, and Germany. Like, I feel like those are the three that just everyone hits those up, right?
Yeah, I think the major ones are a guarantee. London at the very least, France, Germany, Spain, probably Holland as well for Amsterdam. And then I think anything sort of outside that, as horrible as it may sound, is kind of that could be it's 50-50 at this point. So,
I like how he's
but
just sort of whittling down all the remaining viewers until there's just like a couple of people left. I live in
yeah,
London.
yeah. Like obviously we don't know any destinations or dates or anything like that. But I would feel pretty confident that the major five of the European countries will definitely be the
But
main
it's for
main ones.
2026. We know that,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
well, it's not going to be in the last few days of 2025. That of
Well,
course, yeah. So it's basically announces their 2026 world tour, and the big part of this really is the fact that for a band who've talked about world domination so long, we all know if you're a BAND-MAID fan, you kind of know why they've been spending time really not touring as much, focusing a little bit on, establishing themselves in Japan, getting the links through Pony Canyon, and we all know about the tie-ins with anime and stuff. But for a band who talk about, world domination, it's been a long time since they've really actually been out to the world. I mean, yes, there was the American visit during the last few years, but outside of that, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I really think since before this decade, have BAND-MAID actually toured anywhere other than Japan and North America? I don't
No.
remember them touring anywhere else. I
I
could
don't
be wrong. There could
think,
have been
as
some
long as I
exceptional
know
ones, maybe.
them, they've never left Japan.
I might. I mean, I don't know if they've done
I
like a
mean, if there's
show in
one
like
likely
Taiwan or
destination, it might be
something, then I
somewhere
apologize.
around Asia. But as far as I'm aware, it's just been North America.
Well, the one thing we know is that they sure as hell have not been in Europe because I think we can all agree that a lot of people would come flooding out to see them if they did. So, all
But
right. So
that's actually
basically,
why I really hope there will be a lot of dates because I can imagine those tickets will be sold out immediately.
I think
Well,
that's true.
this is the thing. Like I came across as a little bit of a bar humbug when I covered this, and I said like it's really weird because if it was any other band announcing this, I would be super excited. Like if Love Bites or Hanabiya or something just announced that they're coming to Europe or they're doing a world tour or something like that, I wouldn't even think twice. I wouldn't even question it. I'd just be excited. With BAND-MAID, cautiously optimistic is probably the correct
But
terminology
why?
I
This
would
is
use
what
this.
we wanted all
Well,
the
there's
time.
there's a few warning signs I think for me straight off the bat, and the
Okay.
straight off the bat is it's obviously like how I just said, it's a 2026 world tour. Now that doesn't mean that 2026 couldn't possibly leak into 2027, um, but they haven't said it. They would have maybe said something about that, I think. And on top of that, they're planning to tour Japan, Europe, and North America in 2026. That is a lot of places and for a relatively short amount of time, I feel. And I feel, knowing BAND-MAID's past history of just like skipping Europe altogether and going straight to North America, I hope Europe is not treated as a little bit of a stopgap. Like, I would hate to think um, that they tour Japan, they come to Europe, but Europe will just be like we said, the 4, 5 major countries, one show in each country, and then they fuck off to North
Well,
America.
I have to kind of like interject a little bit here because the thing is obviously with us, none of us knowing, you could be entirely right. And I would point out as well that although probably I'm probably the biggest BAND-MAID fan on this little panel of ours, it's worth pointing out that I mean I was just looking through here. We first talked about this subject on a video that we posted on the 27th of April 2023, where we were talking about why BAND-MAID haven't gone back to Europe yet. We then did a follow-up video on the 29th of November 2024, like over a year and a half later. And here we are discussing this in December of 2025, knowing that there will be a tour in 2026, but still no dates. So I am certainly not trying to sugarcoat the fact that it's been a long time. But what I would say in regards to this is that I think that the whole fact they're doing a world tour, the fact that they're traveling so much, it seems to me like the intention is to get to as many fans as possible. Now, yes, obviously you're spreading yourself a bit thin when you're doing a world tour, but we have to remember, obviously Europe is the thing we talk about. I mean, I'm not in Europe, but I know you guys and a lot of fans are who've been waiting for a long time. But there are fans in places around Asia who I think have been waiting for a while as well. I mean, I really hope they do places like Taiwan,
Mm.
Indonesia. I know is a big market. Thailand. I hope
That's
that
why I
there's sort of
say,
It,
like,
it, it-
world
like I said, it's
tour, I'm sure
but
there are fans in Australia as well.
yeah,
yeah,
What
yeah,
about
it's
but
them?
purely a
this
location
is
thing. Like
well,
if
hold
if
up,
we
hold
if we
up.
were
Let
based
me
out
finish
of
the
North
point. Let me
America,
finish
we'd
the
all be
point.
buzzing
No,
right
because the
now.
thing is that doesn't you can't really play that game because if you say, oh, well, I'm sure there's fans there. Well, I mean, that's the same thing as saying, well, they go to Europe, they do 5 big cities. Oh, well, they should have done 10. And they do 10. It's like, well, why didn't they go to every single country? Well, it's like there's more than 10 countries. So you can keep on playing the you should do more thing. But if you think about it, back then, the whole point that we were making initially was, well, just set foot in Europe. That was the thing we were saying. It's like, we don't mind, just set foot in Europe, just show face. And now they're saying they're showing face. We're like, well, if they don't show enough face, then we're going to be disappointed they didn't do more. So I think we got to draw a line and say, well, look, so long as they're announcing a few dates and they're basically trying to visit as many places as possible, that's a good thing.
I mean, that is the worst case scenario, kind
That is
of.
the worst case
So
scenario. Yeah,
we also have
it's
a
an
good
inherent
scenario
theme when it
where
comes to
it's kind
Berlin.
of evenly spread between all the countries, and we have like similar amount of shows in all the countries. Could as well be that I'm not saying we will not get enough shows. Kind of what I'm struggling with is calling it a world tour and then only doing like 3 continents.
Well, I actually had this discussion with someone where I said that like you could describe a world tour as basically so long as you like longitudinal, as long as you go around once longitudinally or once latitudinally.
I mean, the
Because again,
definition,
yeah,
but you
but
could also
how?
call it a Europe, Asia, North America tour or
Okay,
something.
but
I don't
then
know.
okay, why didn't you go play for the Penguins in Antarctica? You got to have like
Well,
some
come
degree
on
of
now.
no, but exactly. Oh, come on
This
now. It's
are
like,
not human beings.
dude, that is so penguinist of you. So,
Well, I'm
I
going to go
mean,
out on a limb here and say that obviously most of Asia they could probably do, which they put in their tour. Obviously, with everything that's going on at the minute in the world, Russia is out the question. So I'm gonna
Yes.
just throw out there that probably countries around that region, like
I think
Belarus and stuff
China's
like
out of the
that, will
question.
also be out the question. not to be
Yeah.
funny, but I can't see many. I could be wrong here. Like, there's gonna, prove me wrong. Somebody in the comments. Um, but I'm gonna go out with a limb and say there ain't many Africans probably lining up to see BAND-MAID in, Somalia or whatever. Again, just saying. I don't feel like that will be financially viable
Maybe,
for the band or the people for that
but like
to
South
come together.
America, even having a collab with like a Mexican band.
Well,
Well,
they have the
Mexico
warning.
could be part of the North American tour because, like, I know Mexico often comes up in North American tours because they refer to it as Central America. I mean, yeah,
But
I
it
know it's
is
a bit
part of
confusing,
South
but
America, right?
no, technically it's not,
Yeah.
apparently. Um, but I
Okay.
think it's like when you get to the strait, the bit which connects them, the really dangerous to
Yeah.
cross bit. I think that's the bit where they draw the line, and that's
Oh,
below.
okay.
So it's funny enough, Mexico does come to North American tour, so I would expect they're still going to be doing that. In fact, when they did their US tours, actually, I should add this: when they did their US tours post COVID, they did visit Mexico. I'm pretty certain of that because there was a thing apparently about that as well. They revisited it because it was also, I think, one of the first, if not the first ever foreign country that actually gigged in. I think was Mexico.
Oh wow.
So
Fun
they did
fact.
revisit it post COVID as well. So yeah, that has been included in their North American activity. So I would
All right.
expect that to be included again, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I'd
But
expect them
yeah,
to go to Mexico.
I, I do kind of agree with Neon's point that you've got to also got to pick continents where you're actually people actually want to see you. Especially if you're going to do a lot of content, it's going to cost a lot of money anyway, and you're going to be away from home a lot of time. So I think North America, Mexico makes sense. I don't know. South America could be on, but I think South America is probably the most reasonable one that
Yeah.
they're missing that they could do instead.
Oh,
Australia
I
is
don't
good
know
as
about
well, but I do
Australia.
wonder
Yeah.
if logistically that's expensive. Because again,
Maybe
you've got
it
to remember
is.
Australia is this big, huge landmass with like a couple of cities like on the edges, miles away from each other, thousands of miles. So
And then it's just filled with things that will kill you.
yeah, exactly. It's those things like you're having a great time. You're like, we finished the tour. We'll go to Australia last. You sit down on the toilet, spider bites you on the arse. You're over. Career, everything dead. That's
Yeah.
not a way to go out. And as everyone knows, that is what
Yep.
happens to everyone in Australia. So-
Exactly.
most common form of death. So-
Yes. Have you ever seen an Australian person over the age of 30? Huh? Huh?
no, exactly. I think we can rest our case.
Uh, I see. But
But okay, so
coming back to the warning, do we know if they will have any pre-bands or like collab groups that will go on the tour with them?
that's actually a very good question. I wonder if they will pick up local bands to do opening sets.
Hmm.
Would be cool.
They haven't announced it, but that actually seems to be very much
Yeah.
in character with BAND-MAID. I mean, again, assume they'll be hitting up festivals, but I imagine they might. Because I mean, like, actually, that's the point. So,
Although
um,
I do want to touch on the this is a completely different thing, but I do want to touch on the announcement where
well,
they said that the record
just
companies
before
would
you
be
do that,
getting
can I ask you a
funding.
question, Neon?
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
just before they do that, can I ask you a question? Because you've seen a lot of bands playing from Japan in London. I remember when you did your video about Hitsu, there was an opening act. Is
Hitsu
it
was
like when you saw Love Bites?
surprisingly
When
popular.
when there was Love Bites, was there an opening act for them as well? Is this something you're seeing a lot when Japanese bands play in?
No, but I think the thing with the Love Bites one, when they came around the first time, they played in a small pub. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think they grossly, obviously, it was the first time, like after COVID, that Love
But
Bites had been
I
to the
think they
UK.
even had a little pre-band, didn't they?
And they grossly underestimated how popular they were. Like that pub was fucking chocked. It was like every person was trying to cram into that small fucking room. And it was kind of funny actually, because they actually added another date onto the tour at the end of the tour to come back to London to play in a bigger show because they just like
Yeah.
completely didn't factor in how popular they were. Um,
But there was
which
no
I guess
warm
for
up.
them was a bit of a shock because they probably weren't expecting to be able to fill anything and then ended up filling proper shows in the end, which was nice. Um,
It was a
but
small one-man show that they
yeah,
organized.
and for Hitsu there was a local opening band, some guy from Europe who I said this in the blog teasingly. I was like, you kind of need to read the room a little bit because like everybody that was there, like when you're not really there for local music, to be fair. But props off to the guy. I felt he fit the vibe of Hitsu sort of kind of well actually.
So
It was not a bad opening act to be honest.
would you feel then it would be in character from your experience for BAND-MAID to have an opening act, or do you think there's any, well, I'm not going to say precedent, but do you think that seems to be consistent with what you
I think
usually
it
see? Because
totally
I mean,
depends
I
on
think
the
it depends on two
locations.
factors. Tonally,
yeah,
whoever opens for them, I think you need a rock band. I think somebody
yeah,
coming in. The amount of bands for some strange reason I've seen, like when I go and see a rock band and there's like some pop guy, solo artist on the front stage for the first act, and you kind of just sat there, huh? You know, and you just like you can tell the record labels shoved them in here to get them some experience and stuff, but you just kind of like, dude,
I
seriously,
think it's
read the
probably just
room.
down to how bad the event organizers are in some of these countries. Like, especially, I mean, I've worked with London event organizers, and there's good ones, but there's a lot more terrible ones.
Yeah, and I like it. I two factors. Like I think tonally, I personally I would like to see, but I think BAND-MAID are now. I know it's been a while for them for Europe, but I would still class this sort of BAND-MAID as like the upper echelon of like bands in Japan that are able to tour worldwide and get decent numbers.
Hmm.
I would like to see BAND-MAID bring a smaller act from Japan. Now, I know that that's probably not entirely viable. I know that there's numbers and stuff and crowd and who they could bring, and that would make
That would
everything
be
so much
awesome.
more expensive. I get
Yeah,
that.
I think it'll
Um,
be priced out of possibility, to be
yeah,
honest.
so it's more out of hope than expectation. But I would love them to bring. I mean, Pony Candy now, I imagine, is probably covering a large bit of this bill now with them, and BAND-MAID already draw the numbers, so maybe it is probable for them to go, hey, let's take a hit, but let's introduce the new sort of upcoming band we've got on our label at the minute for them.
Well,
Um,
not only is it probably more money than it's worth, but there's also a little bit of credibility that I don't know whether this is misguided, but I think a lot of these bands feel it's quite credible when you turn up in a country to get a support act from that country because they feel like it
yeah,
endears you. I actually agree with you that I think a lot of the time the audience is actually more excited about seeing overseas bands. So when you're there for a Japanese band and then like a local band turns up, it almost feels a little bit like, oh, no, I'm here for the overseas experience. So I do get that. I mean, to give you an example, obviously when Bloodywood came to Japan, our girls Eminu, they were the ones who they put them
Mm.
up on stage. So, I think it can work, but you have to pick the artists really well.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of variables on it. I could get that. Personally, I would like to see a Japanese act opener or a small Japanese band I've never heard of. Just give them a little bit of time and a little bit of face and free advertisement along with BAND-MAID. But it will probably just be local bands, I imagine. So
Do we know like what kind of size of venue they filled in like North America, at least the last tours? Because I think that is really a big factor of how these shows are gonna be. Like, is it gonna be like a smaller club like with Love Bites, or is it gonna be like a huge
I
stage
mean,
which will have multiple artists?
you have to factor in that. I mean, again, I know that people don't like to use this figure, but there are no good metrics for judging this. But one of the best metrics is when you look at things like Spotify streams, and I know we've talked about this before, which is that until relatively recently, you could pretty much say that BAND-MAID's monthly listeners was about 10 times what Love Bites is on average. So we're talking about a massive listener base, and it's not like they're all crowded in Japan. A lot of them are overseas, just like Love Bites fans. So my feeling is based on that, and I've seen a lot of pictures of people going to see BAND-MAID in the US, and they were not massive venues, but they were halls more than clubs most of the time, from what I could
yeah.
see. I get the feeling that they will be booking medium-sized venues, not too small. But by the same token, it's a fairly well accepted thing that event organizers prefer to book venues that are just a teeny bit smaller than they think are necessary, because then you can say sold out world tour. The last thing you want is
Yeah.
tickets left over. Even if you make that little bit extra money, the credibility of saying sold out world tour, that gets you invited in next year or the year after to more festivals and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, BAND-MAID are like still one of the best bands I think that could pull high numbers. I don't think they're quite on the level of Baby Metal. Baby Metal itself is its own sort of unique entity that can pull in fucking shit ton of fans. I would put class BAND-MAID probably on the same par as Hanabiya, I think, where I think if they went round and toured and got like a 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 capacity hall or club or whatever, each
I
for every
think
show. I reckon they could easily fill that.
I think
I reckon
BAND-MAID
that
could
would
have the
probably.
benefit of like similar to Love Bites of drawing a bit of an older crowd because Hanabi I feel is pretty modern. I think only younger people will like Hanabi. I don't think too many older people
No,
like
I meant just in terms of numbers.
Hanabi.
If like I said, if we're going off Howard said about like Spotify
Yeah,
listeners, I think BAND-MAID trumps
yeah,
Hanabi
yeah, sure.
for listeners. So I reckon if we're going off that sort of like reputation and sort of numbers, bringing it in, then I probably say that Hanabi, BAND-MAID, if Hanabi can do it, and then I do believe BAND-MAID can do it, like a 2.5 seater, 2,500 seater
Two and a
places.
half seater.
I think they can fill that.
One person and their fat friend.
Yeah, imagine getting that ticket.
But I will say, in all seriousness, though, I know what you're saying about the Hanabiya thing, and the interesting thing is that in my comments below my video about this, and pretty much well, actually, it's also been an issue a lot in the conversation before we had this announcement, is that people were often drawing the comparison with Hanabiya, and of course, there's no beef between these two bands, but it's an interesting comparison because Hanabiya obviously have been super active in touring, especially overseas. They've been, especially in places like Europe, where they've been sweeping up fans
Yeah.
who a lot of them are people like BAND-MAID fans who've just been waiting for their favorite band to come over but hadn't. And I know a lot of people who've been saving money for BAND-MAID shows had been going to Hanabiya shows just because it was like, oh, well, this is a band who's actually here. So this is, not to create any false rivalry. This has just been an interesting comparison between the two ways that the bands have been operating, and also not to sort of apply any intention to that. It's just the way it's been. Now, the funny thing is that I do still think that obviously BAND-MAID have much bigger numbers than Hanabiya still even now.
Hmm.
However, Hanabiya have this kind of freshness, and I think they appeal very much to a niche metal crowd who turn up in numbers. The benefit of BAND-MAID, though, is that if you assume a festival, and we're talking about just a festival, not a metal festival, just a rock music festival or a festival like that, bands like BAND-MAID, I think, have more cross appeal because they're not scream vocals, because it's not so intense. It's more like an accessible type of music, an accessible type of rock. I think you put them on at a festival, and I think they will definitely draw much bigger numbers. So
Are festival appearances usually part of world tours?
yes. Well, I
Okay.
mean, they're not counted in the tour, but if you're going to do a world tour, you will almost certainly make sure to stop off in some festivals along the way. Most bands won't actually officially say that was part of their tour. Again, I think that's just
Hmm.
to avoid the fact that you can't then
Okay.
say sold out tour if the festival doesn't sell out. But I think that they're usually not put on the tour roster, depending on the band.
Yeah,
But
because I
yeah,
usually
they'll
don't see
almost
that on
certainly
the
stop.
Yeah.
tour dates. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You'll see like the tour thing, and then you'll go, oh, by the way, between
They got
these
a
two
week
dates,
there. What were they
oh,
doing in that week?
Yeah.
yeah. You'll just see like, oh, by the way, here's our festival appearance dates. It's like, wait, that's the same as your tour dates. Oh, they're directly between. I see.
Yeah.
So, so I think there's a good
Secretly
possibility of
part
that kind of
of
thing
the
happening.
world tour.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm really excited to see them. I just hope they. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody who was like, "Oh, because I mentioned the same thing where I was like, I expect them to come to Europe, but I hope they do like at least I was kind of saying like two free shows in each country, and then somebody turned around and said, "Oh, but you can't expect that, Neon. That's 40 countries in Europe. That's like 80 to 120 shows." And I'm just kind of like, just use a bit of common sense a little bit, mate. They ain't going to like the back ass of fucking what used to be
Luxembourg.
Yugoslavia.
Okay.
You, you know.
All my Latvian friends are tuning out because they feel
Yeah,
offended.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
People of
sorry.
Latvia, I love you, people of Latvia. I love you. Check out my videos. You'll notice every single one of them has Latvian subs. I love you, Latvia.
Um,
All right.
so yeah,
That was a weird
I'd
moment.
not
We
expect.
had
Yeah,
that
like I said, I'm
moment.
not
Where are
expecting
my
them to go
Vatican
to.
guys?
Yeah, I'm not
Hey, I
expecting them
want to
to
see
go
your
to.
Vatican subtitles, all right? Show me your Vatican subtitle.
Yeah, I'm not expecting them to go to like Latvia or even like even maybe places like Switzerland or something like that. That's really harsh. I hope to be pleasantly surprised and see and hope that they do and they do like. But I think there's going to be a give and take. I
I
think
think it's
they
sometimes
either
it's just on the road. Sometimes you see like
Yeah.
dates, for example, in Austria, because it's like just bet on the
On way.
way to
it's
France, like
yeah
from Germany.
on the way. So I think
Can I?
it's going to be a give and take. It's either going to go one or two ways. Or either going to go around Europe, like around Europe proper, but I think it will be one show or maybe possibly two if pushing it in each country. And
I
that, and
mean,
I or they do the five main countries and they'll just kind of like flitter around, like again, your Belgium, your Austria on the way through and stuff like that, and maybe do like three shows in like each country.
Okay, I mean, the problem is, I think we can get into a bit of a rabbit hole hypothesizing where that we think they'll stop off because there's virtually any limit of answers, and I think there's also this gradient of how much is enough. You know, twice in each country,
Mm.
5 times in the entire continent. That can all be very kind of vague. I think the easiest way of putting this, and I'm going to post this. Well, I'm going to pose this question to Benedict first of all, because I think Benedict's the best one to answer this. How far would you travel for a band-made show?
Good question. Hmm. How far
It's a
would
bit
I
harder to
travel?
ask that to Neon because Neon's trapped on a little island. We already know he has to go halfway across it all the time anyway, the poor
I
bastard.
think as far as I would for any other group,
I went
probably.
halfway across the world to see BAND-MAID in Japan, so
Hey. Bandmade and Unlucky Morpheus. You did more than just see Bandmade. All
Like the
right. Like
good
I was
thing
like,
is usually the maximum travel
don't forget
time is
caramel
like
candy as
three
well.
hours to
Gotta
get
get
to
that
some
appetizers.
location.
sorry. So he said the holy word, so I just had to like say
I see.
the
No, I usually have the benefit that I don't have to travel more than 3 hours to get to some bigger city where usually a group will play, like Munich, for
3 hours each
example.
way.
Yeah,
That seems pretty reasonable. I mean, I think traveling, I think it's one of those things
I
where
probably wouldn't go like to Berlin, like drive 8 hours or something, but yeah.
I do think it's like one of those ones where would you do an overnight drive and sleep in the car kind of thing? Which I don't know. For me, that feels like the sort of thing where, I mean, because I do a lot of like night buses and traveling a lot, I kind of think like long-term traveling is fine, but yeah, driving is a different thing. Um, I am kind of intrigued to kind of see that because obviously, so let's say with you, Neil, I doubt this would be the case, but let's say Neon, BAND-MAID announced their tour. They're not coming to the UK, but they are coming to Paris. Would you travel to Paris?
Um, okay, I'm gonna tackle this one. I'm gonna slightly tackle this from two different angles.
What?
As a YouTuber and the fact that many of my subscribers probably would be there, the answer to that question would be yes. Now,
People in Paris, you just got your call to arms, by the way. That's your call to action. He's prepping you for when it happens.
um, if I
They
took
will
that out
come
the
to London.
equation, if I took that out the equation, that obviously there's going to be loads of people there that I would know, um, and I was just basing off this of just as a fan going to a gig, I don't think it would be possible, like financially responsible for me to be able to do that.
That is,
Um, it's not a case of could or couldn't I? I could. Yes, I certainly could. But I think that would be a lot of effort to go and see a band in another country. You
I think
know,
it's mostly because you'd have to drive through the Channel Tunnel to get to the other side. So you'd be like,
well,
you know,
for me, it
coming.
would have to be a flight. So
Ah,
I suppose
yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose I could get a coach down and then get the tunnel across as well. But that's like way more hours than I'm comfortable of.
That's
I could get
you
to
could do the
Japan
mega
fast. I can get
bus.
to Japan faster than I can get to Paris if I did that. So,
But by the way, I am one of that generation of people who did actually take a mega bus from London, Victoria, all the way to
Megabus.
Paris for £5. Yeah,
Oh, Jesus
It's a
Christ,
good
yeah.
deal, but how long does it take?
Too fucking long.
it's not the time, it's the misery. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
So, I
Yeah.
remember when I used to live in Germany, we used to drive up to Liverpool all the time, like a couple of times a year, and the drive from Mönchengladbach, which actually is not too bad because that's very western. But we used to drive from Mönchengladbach all the way through Holland, get the get the ferry from Rotterdam to Hull, and then drive from Hull all the way to Liverpool, and just that whole entire journey, it was just like 20 odd hours, and it's just oh no, I can't do that now.
oh, you're too old now, yeah.
I'm too old now,
Would
yeah.
you
So
would you
I'm just like
travel to
no.
Germany to do a joint blog with Benedict?
So it's funny. I might actually do that actually because there's a friend of mine
Yeah,
that we
there you
used
go.
to
Come by. Sure.
who we were I've actually been talking about coming back to Germany for a little bit just to for me and him to reminisce on old
Yeah.
times.
Hit me up. We
Yeah,
can
man, for sure.
go watch BAND-MAID
So
together. Maybe.
Benedict, he can come stay in your house next time, and you can tell me. We share stories about Neon behind his back.
You know, I think it's always it's hard. For
That's
one, it's the
heartbreaking. I thought we
financial
got on.
thing.
What do I not know?
Right. Right. Benedict, every time I went into my toilet, it was all clean and he'd folded like the toilet paper into these little triangles and everything. That's terrifying. It's not manly at all.
To be fair, I did the nice thing and put and like changed his toilet roll for him because it was out. I've never seen a man kick off more than anything for putting the toilet roll the supposed wrong way.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God. You put look, people. I mean, come on,
Did he put it
anyone with
with
just
the
a shred
thing
of
to the
decency.
wall?
He hung the toilet roll facing the wall. I'm not
That
even
is
joking.
wrong, Neon.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I mean,
Like I've been blissfully unaware my entire life that that was even a thing. So
I
you
mean, we
there.
just assumed it was basic like human knowledge. You know, it's like you know how to breathe, you know how to hang toilet paper not facing the wall. I mean,
I mean, the toilet paper's going on your ass. I mean, does it really matter at that point?
it's the bit where your hand comes for the next piece of toilet paper and it's touching my wall. But that's the bit.
What's in your shitty ass? Like, what's the
Uh,
point?
how did we come from BAND-MAID to this?
Oh no, man, I'm traumatized. Talk
Yeah,
to me about
yeah, yeah.
handmade so I can come back.
Coming back to BAND-MAID. I don't know. I hope there's some decent dates for this one. Touching on what Howard said, I've seen a lot of comments on my videos and all that where people going, "Oh, well, there's not that many dates, then at least people can travel to the gigs and stuff." And I realize that there's going to be like a really hardcore fan base for this. I think for the casual fan though, or maybe people that are less financially in the green, I think for them, I think that would be a missed opportunity. I feel like you want to sort of try and satisfy as many people as you can coming to Europe. I just hope they take their time. I mean, like Howard said, it's inquantifiable. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. There's too many variables. But
Just have to see what they announce.
I just want to feel like Europe's not a stopgap on the way to North America again. I think that's where I maybe have a little bit of an issue with them if that's the
I
case.
I
don't have
honestly
that
don't
fear
think
so
that's what it
much.
is. I don't think they would have called it a world tour if it was just
Yes,
them coloring some stuff around North
exactly.
America. So I wouldn't worry about that. I do also think actually Neon hit on a really good point because the thing is that if you say, "Oh, just travel across Europe," the sort of people who can just, especially if you're in the UK, because remember it's expensive to get across the UK and out of the UK, especially now. If you're the sort of person who can afford to do that, you're probably also the sort of person who's paid for flights to Japan to come see them before. And of course, I know like Neon's done that, but Neon did that after a huge crowd fundraiser with his followers. You know, like
And
most of the people
once
who I
in a
think this,
lifetime, not like going to every
yeah,
show.
I mean, I think this tour, the whole reason why it's so important is because you can go and you can get to those fans who can't just jump on a plane and come to Japan, can't afford that. Because, you know,
Yes.
I think the problem is for a lot of the people who can afford doing that, they really don't understand what it feels like. And no disrespect to those people. I mean, credit to you. If you're coming out spending the money on BAND-MAID, love to you. If you spend it on any band, love to you. But a lot of the time, I think these people don't realize, I think it can be genuinely quite. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say I think it can be genuinely quite painful for like a lot of people who are really big fans. They love a band, they listen to this band every day. They buy all the albums, but sometimes they can't afford to buy the albums, so they like streaming it every day. It's all they listen to. They're watching all the news on social media, but they just can never go see their band because they just don't have that money. They don't have that. They don't have the finance to go and do that. It's not realistic. It's not possible.
I mean, it
And
sucks, but it's also that's just kind of how it is. I
yeah,
mean,
and
you could
exactly.
also
So
say
this,
like your favorite actor, you love him so much, you buy all his merch, you will never meet him because he's
yeah,
only
but
like up in
actors don't
Hollywood
tour. You know, bands tour, and especially if your band's whole thing
to
is
some
world
conventions.
domination. Your band is like world domination. It's like, again, this is nothing against BAND-MAID, nothing against any of it. I'm just saying that this is the sort of thing where, you know, every other band's doing it. I think it's glorious that BAND-MAID are doing this, but if they're doing it, it should be focused on going to the places where fans can access them, where people who love them but haven't been able to come to see them can get to them. So I do think it would be wise to have a good number of shows, but we'll see.
So,
Yeah.
do we think there will be like some VIP tickets, like with the baby metal, that
Oh yeah,
zero ticket or stuff?
definitely. Oh, come on, man. Yes,
Okay.
110%. If there's one thing I can say with utmost certainty, there will be VIP tickets and stuff.
I'm intrigued that
So,
you're
do you
very
think they
certain
do
about that.
meet and greets?
Oh, I'd be doubtful. I guess it's not impossible, but I would be
Mm.
doubtful, right?
For enough money, maybe.
I'm gonna steal a. I'm gonna steal a quote from one of my subscribers in Discord, Paul here. He goes, "I like a band because I paid for them to pretend to like me for 30 seconds." So that is the experience of a VIP.
Yes.
Wait, can you say that one more time? I'm not sure I
He
quite got.
goes, I like bands. He goes, I like VIP because I pay the band I like money for them to pretend to
Oh,
like me for 30 seconds.
I get you now. I get you now.
While he
I
gets a
mean,
picture.
if he's
Um,
happy, then it's a win-win.
yeah, so
Can
that's
can I
VIP in a
just say,
nutshell.
just a reminder that the Trident meet and greet only cost 1,000 yen, so that's basically a fiver, and they did pretend to like me. However, Neki's meet and greet was completely free of charge because they were just out there on the street and
They were honest about
just
hating you.
Wow.
running up
One
to
of the
all the
best
shops.
meet and greets I've ever been to, and I'm not just saying this because Howard's here, was actually Caramel Candid when we were in Japan. So that was very well done, actually.
Nice.
Utmost respect for them on that one.
I don't think I ever been to any meet and greet.
Yes,
So maybe BAND-MAID, the first one.
Possibly. I mean, you know, if you got the dough, then do it, I suppose.
Well,
I was about to say, as
another
like
thing, we
the
will see how much the ticket will be, but that's also very dependent on the location and stuff. Will it be like a standard ticket or will it be like really expensive?
well, I
Like
did
90
notice
bucks
that
or something.
Silent Siren, they've been doing a few because they tend to do like gigs around Asia because they've got Asian popularity more than like worldwide.
Mm.
And they've been booking some of their Asian gigs and they booked one in Hong Kong, which is the upcoming one in Hong Kong. And I just noticed on the poster that it was through Live Nation, and it suddenly reminded me, it's like shit, even the Japanese bands when they go overseas have to deal with these like kind of creepy evil ticket companies who charge insane amounts of money. Um, so yeah, I can't help but feel like you guys are gonna have to pay like sorts of like I mean you have to pay so much money to see them that you might as well fucking fly to Japan if I'm entirely honest with you.
But I
So
mean, again, like for example, the baby metal, I'm not sure exactly how much it was. I think around 80 euros, but it was like the arena show. And I personally felt it was worth it for the show I got. Also three artists along. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
that's about one
felt
and a
like it
half
was
times
worth
what
it.
you'd pay here for baby metal. So
Yeah.
that's not like insanely. I mean, it's obviously a lot more, but it's not insanely more. It's not like paying three
Yeah.
times as
That's
much,
why I
which I can
said it really
imagine.
depends on like the location, because if you go to a
Yeah.
little club and pay like 80 euros, then you're probably not gonna be that satisfied.
If I had to give like a sort of a price estimate, I would reckon probably about the £45 mark. I'm gonna say for BAND-MAID.
Like I
You know
said,
that
it really depends
all of their
on
gigs are going to
where.
be totally different prices, though, right? It's going to be depending on the
Oh yeah,
venue.
it'll be different
So,
prices all over
one
Europe.
question I have for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Would you prefer to see BAND-MAID, like, well, Neon probably you Howard already saw BAND-MAID. But Neon, when they come to London, would you prefer to see them on a big stage or in a little club where like more close up and personal?
Had this conversation a million times before, so I can't wait to see what Neon say.
Yeah, for me, I always prefer smaller venues to bigger venues. There's some
Always.
always.
Goddamn.
Okay.
I like the intimacy. I like the being close to the stage. I like um the mosh pits. I like getting sweaty. I like being close to the girls, seeing them play and stuff like that, or whatever
Sorry,
band on
I like how
stage.
you nose-tailed that. It's like I like being sweaty, I like being near to the girls. It's like you need to separate those two comments.
Oh, well, I didn't say how they were related, but I'm glad you clocked on.
Well, I gotta say, like, usually I would agree, but for example, baby metal, I think I prefer the big, huge
Yeah.
crowd because that's kind of part of the experience.
Baby
I think
metal's
that's what makes them so
a different
different,
type
though.
of kettle of fish,
Yeah.
though. Like
Hmm.
baby metal are very
Yeah.
much meant for a big stage. It's almost like a sort of like rehearsed
Yeah,
opera, a
true.
little bit baby
But I
metal.
think also BAND-MAID I would prefer on the smaller stage, like Love Bites, which was amazing.
Hmm.
So yeah, like Love Bite. I would love to see Love Bites in a Budokan or something someday. I know loads of people are traveling over that I know for the Love Bite shows, which I'm immensely jealous of at the minute.
But well, at least we get a new
Leave it on that
album.
note. Just leave that lingering sense of sadness there for a minute.
Yeah,
Well,
I
they
know.
released a new album. Maybe they will do another tour as well after that. We will see.
We'll see. I think for as well for BAND-MAID, I think it's just for them. I think it's just get this monkey off your back sort of situation as well. I think once they've been to Europe once, like Howard said, just get it over and done with, and then people can stop complaining that they've not been to Europe, and then hopefully it's not another 5 years when they stop over, which I don't think it will be.
Let's just make like a BAND-MAID song reference. Did I catch that correctly? Hunky Dory?
So no, it wasn't intentional.
One intention. Oh, too bad.
Um, yeah,
I
just get that up your back and
thought you heard stop over as start over actually. So
Mhm.
yeah,
so.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they own, I mean, obviously this kind of like factors into that obvious area. If they only did like a few shows in Europe, I think most people would be saying that's okay so long as you come back every like, couple of years or so. But if they do like a really extensive tour in Europe and they really cover a lot of places, then I think a lot of people would be fine to take a breather for a few
Yeah.
years and say, hey, as long as they come back in 3 or 4 years, it's good. We had a fucking incredible
Yes.
tour. Because I mean, it's not like people are unaware of just how far it is to do all this. It's just that I think people just want world domination to manifest in its most literal sense. But
I just think it's because there was so much focus of them not going to Europe. I mean, it became a bit of a meme, and it's just one of those things that just kept going and going and going over the year, even to the point where the band had to acknowledge it themselves because they could sense the unrest from people that they haven't gone to Europe. Um, so I feel like they
That's also
felt
why
it.
I don't think they will just do like one or two shows in Europe because
Yeah, I hope
but
so.
that
do
would be
you know,
another slap in the face.
Well, yeah.
I
How many shows do we reckon? Like,
we don't know. Yeah, we
You
don't know.
don't know. No.
no.
We don't. I
I
think
would
it's one of those
imagine
ones.
like a similar like the Baby Metal World Tour.
Yeah,
Mm,
it could be anything. I mean, I think we'll know more about the type of tour once they announce it, but I really don't
mm.
think we know. But one thing I will say is though is that I think it was interesting, and I think I called this, and I think you guys maybe said the same thing. You know how like everyone said that when made that management company made it, everyone was like, "Oh, they've freed themselves from their management," and they didn't actually look and see it's mostly the same people. They just kind of took their management and made it into their own company already the minute this European tour announcement came out, there was already people going, "Oh, well, this is because they've got their own management now. They're free from their own." And it's like, how long do we have to keep on doing this? It's like, it's like, it's not like they were trapped and being denied access to Europe by
Deception.
maybe the one or two people who are not the same anymore. It's like it's basically the same people. So,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
think
Anyway, so
we will have to wait for our I'm really looking forward to seeing the tour dates, seeing which kind of locations they will play and where.
okay. And when Benedict goes, well, that's a 4 hour drive. I'm not doing that.
Well, if
I
Neon
think
comes
you
and
will. I
joins
think you
me,
will. I think he'll make an exception for
if
Bandmaid.
Neon comes over and joins me, I will. I will.
I like that. You two can meet in the middle. You can
Yeah.
both go and like visit a nice band-made show somewhere in Luxembourg, Belgium.
Surely the middle is Amsterdam, Benedict, isn't it? Just
Hmm.
saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the correct spot.
Lille. Go to Lille. Yeah,
Go to Leo.
get get robbed. Lille is a great place to get pickpocketed.
You say that like you from experience.
I'm not going to say who, but I know someone from a Japanese band whose relatives were pickpocketed in Lille, and Lille has a reputation for pickpocketing. Just throwing it out there. So if you're French, that's my fault. Now I brought in the Latvians, and I've got rid of a lot of the people from Northern France. I apologize. I kind of don't. It's true, but anyway, right. So hope all of you folks in Europe are looking forward to a little bit of BAND-MAID. Hopefully, we'll talk about it more when there's more news. We just wanted to talk about this initial thing because it's kind of interesting to really capture the raw emotions of how people are feeling about it, what people are expecting now that we know that this is coming, and to see how opinions have kind of changed since all of that lingering talk there was for so many years about, well, I hope they come back. Now actually talking about it now that we know they are coming back is really interesting. So as
I'm
always,
happy
guys,
about it.
yeah, I'm glad to see that you people
Not as
are.
worried as Neon.
Like I said, I think there's a fine line between like being excited. And like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. Just because they've announced a tour doesn't mean I'm going to forgive them for 5 years of neglect straight away.
He's just
But
gonna
that's what
stand there in the
happens when
front
you
row.
neglect us that long.
But I
You
know some
lose
people straight away, they
faith.
see the tour and they're like, all is forgiven. I'm like, I'm waiting on the dates. I want to see how this pans
He's
out.
gonna stand there in the front row like, well, I'm
Hmm.
here. Convince me.
So,
So, are you gonna play any instrumentals?
yeah. I'm gonna walk out the gig and be like, they didn't play on set. 1 out of 10.
I came all this
Fucking
way.
sucked.
You came all this way, and no one played on set. I can't believe it. I'm going back to Liverpool.
This fucking sucked.
It's not. It won't be worse than Hitsu not playing Shaun of the Sheep though in England. I don't know how they missed that. That was such an obvious slam and dunk.
Do they actually have the license to play that? You imagine them getting like
Yeah. That's probably why.
Sorry, Aardman Animations have not actually licensed you to perform this song. Thank you very much. Uh, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Get in the comments. Tell us your thoughts about this. I know a lot of people are excited. I know this news has been out for a few days anyway now, but we usually have our little recordings on Wednesday. Thus, we recorded this on a Wednesday, and you're watching it on a Wednesday. And maybe you're watching it later, but we posted it on a Wednesday. You guys, tell us what you think. And to
You will
remember,
watch it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we make it on a Wednesday. We post it on a Wednesday. You will watch it on a Wednesday.
make it unlisted 6 days a week, and then every Wednesday we'll just put
Yes.
it back into public. Remember to keep your ears to wherever BAND-MAID is, which is going to be the West, but at least still for now is
Yay.
the East.
Yay.